How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here. Today we are going to be looking at a Diablo 4 beta tier list, and as you can see on the left side of my screen, I have leveled up every single class to level 25. That is the max in the beta. I have tested every single build, and I'm going to share my knowledge with you. So let's go ahead and jump into that and see if you think the same things that I think. Go ahead and comment down below whether you feel this tier list is accurate, whether you would put something higher or lower, and share your thoughts on the classes and characters that you played in general. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, here we are with the tier list, and keep in mind that this is just for that level 25 range, so it's going to be the start of the game, the leveling portion of the game, and what we have seen so far in the beta. So just a bit of a disclaimer, this is not going to be a finalized tier list, and this will most likely be very different in in-game, and especially for leveling builds. But let's go ahead and start placing them. The Barbarian, I'm going to share a little bit of my thoughts with the class when I played it. So when I first got the Barbarian, it seemed really rough at first, but as the levels went up, as I started to get some gear, and I started to get towards some of the later talents, it ended up being a bit better than I thought it would be. It was a little bit more challenging than some of the other classes. The best build that I found was probably going to be the Hammer of the Ancients build, along with the Lunge Generator. It seemed to do quite a bit of damage, but it still seemed a little bit far behind some of the other classes. So I'm going to put it right here in the middle, like the B tier. And I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, Barbarian is a little bit weak. It feels weak. I feel like this is a class that severely takes advantage of the overpower mechanic, which is sort of the new crit. It's like a better version of crit, in my opinion, within Diablo 4. And I think that you won't see maximum results with this class until you get to the actual end game, where you have the proper aspect powers, you have the proper ancient items or unique items, legendary items, whatever you want to call them, and you have the full build going in online. So the next class we're going to jump into was the Druid, and this one I also struggled with a lot. I tried every build imaginable with the Druid, and the only build I could find that would even work slightly was the Earth Elemental build. So I'm going to put the Druid in the C tier. The Earth build was actually decently strong, thanks to being lucky and finding a few legendary items that powered up some of my Earth skills and added extra CC and more damage when they were CC'd, but I didn't see many options. I tried the Werewolf build, it didn't seem to do anything, and it was very limited to single target. The Werebear build didn't seem to do any damage as well. I tried different lightning variations, and it felt like you were always starved for spirit and all of these different things. So the Druid, in my opinion, is probably the most probably the class that needs the most work. Maybe we'll see how their legendaries shape the class later on, because I did find a few that dynamically changed some of the core abilities or transferred some abilities into core abilities, but I think this is about where the Druid is. Next up, we have the Necromancer. The Necromancer was incredibly easy, and I'm going to go ahead and put this straight to the top on the S tier. The skeletons, the minions that you get actually for free without even having to really pick your talents just from the Book of the Dead were insanely powerful. This class is way overtuned. It does tons of damage and has a lot of minions on the field, so you feel like you're not even being attacked. Like, monsters are just fighting your minions while you're killing them passively. The build that I found that worked the best was through the Blood talent with the Blood Swell build, where it exploded the AoE blood around you. This build did a lot of damage. It took advantage of the overpower mechanic that we were talking about, so it did tons of massive crit numbers, and it felt like it kept you healthy as well, because you were healing off of the damage that you were dealing. You had a way to go invulnerable with Blood Mist and all kinds of good things. I felt often with the Necromancer, I just walked into a room, pressed my button, and deleted everybody and kept going on. Bosses were not a problem either. I completely slapped them down, and it was super easy mode. So by far the best class I played in this beta build was the Necromancer. Let me know if you think so as well. Feel free to comment down below. What was the best class that you played? So now let's go ahead and move on to the Rogue. The Rogue was actually one of my favorite classes. I really enjoyed the Rogue. I felt that it had a lot of potential and a lot of damage, and not to mention, I think that it had a really high skill cap. And this is really good. I like classes like this. I'm going to put the Rogue in the A tier, and I think that this Rogue does a lot of DPS, especially with the Twisting Blades build, with poison mods and imbuements on your weapons. You can deal a ton of damage, but more importantly, you are incredibly fast and mobile. you're going to be ripping through the map. And I think that leveling up with the rogue is probably going to be the easiest, just due to the amount of mobility you have through concealments, movement speed, shadow steps, and your alternate way to get extra dashes and all kinds of crazy stuff. It feels like you're really in this hit and run playstyle, so you can just hit these monsters, move through, have your twisting blades just dash through all the other mobs, completely wreck them, and you are good to go. So I think that the rogue is a very strong class, and I'm really interested in the potential of this class going into the future. And finally, we have the Sorceress. The Sorceress is very, very, very powerful, but also probably the easiest class I have played by far. I'm going to put the Sorceress in the A tier. I'm definitely going to put it above the Rogue, though. I think the Sorceress is better than the Rogue because it is easy to play. I think that the Rogue in the hands of a high skill-capped player might be better, depending. But the Sorceress is very, very simple. I played the Hydra build. The Hydra build was absolutely phenomenal. I managed to kill the Butcher with the Hydra build, that special guy that spawns. I know he's been wreaking havoc on a lot of people, but it was very simple. You just take a couple of fire skills to start. Fireball, it usually one-shots most packs of mobs, and then you get a couple of barriers because you really don't need anything else. Once you get down to Hydra, you drop the Hydra on the ground and you are good to go. So I ended up using Frost Armor and Molten Armor, as well as the Hydra Fireball, and then finally at the end I used the little Inferno Serpent, which was really nice move to kind of group everything together. But the Hydras do way too much damage. They definitely need some scaling. You can have 4 heads on the Hydra and they're all auto-attacking for like 50% damage and burning the monster, and their attack speed is out of this world. There's all kinds of ways to modify them. So it just seemed like you placed the Hydra down and just walked around in a circle for like 3 or 4 seconds and everything died. So this class was for sure completely brain dead. You don't have to do anything at all. You just place the Hydra down and then hit all your survivability options and just, you know, kind of laugh at the monsters as they run around and just slowly wither away. So that's going to be pretty much it for my tier list. I didn't feel the need to put anything down in the D tier because I think that all the classes were able to clear the content that was within the beta with a certain build, and I think that they will all be fine in the in-game scope of things. Hopefully you enjoyed this tier list and it gives you a bit of an idea on what you want to spend the rest of your beta weekend on, and make sure to try out some of these classes because their core mechanics are there, and that's going to give you a really good idea on what you want to play in the future. Playstyle is important, so make sure that you don't not enjoy the class that you're actually committing and putting a lot of time into leveling up and pushing Paragon levels and all that stuff in the future. Okay, so make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell if you like this content or found it useful. We will have a ton of Diablo guides and videos coming up. I'm going to focus more on the top end of things. So I'm going to try to stay away from little, like, opinionated pieces or dinky little, oh, check this. I'm just going to show you important things. So it's going to be like, this strategy is OP. This is the best way to get gold. This is the best way to get items. I'm going to show you a tier list of all the characters. I'm going to show you advanced builds for every character, and that's what we're going to be focusing on for this channel. Thanks for your time once again, and we will see you in the next video.